My name is George Overton. I'm chairman of the PSOJ Standing Committee on National Security and Justice.
I'm Stephanie Lindsay, Senior Superintendent of Police and Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Corporate Communications Unit.
And I have been working with Keith through that capacity for the tenure he has had here.
As we reflect on my association, working with Keith Duncan as the president of the private sector organization, and one of the things that stands out for me is when he addressed me like senior soup, and that's how he addressed me all the time. But having worked with him, it has given me a whole different perception and perspective about the private sector organization and how they operate. We started working with the COVID Response Fund during the pandemic, and something that stood out about Keith is sincerity. I would describe him as being authentic. He wasn't doing this because it was something to show. He did it because he felt that there was a genuine need, and he believed he had the ability to mobilize his constituents, all the people, the other business leaders, to come together to fund something that was really, really important, and important that it touched lives of the very person whose lives needed to be touched at the time.
It has been a good 2 years working with Keith. Actually, it's more than two. That when he came into office, he started with the consultative process of going and meeting with the various government agencies and ministers. From that, we had an MOU that was signed with the Ministry of National Security, which incorporated the Ministry of Transport and Mining, and that gave birth to the Public Order Monitoring and Oversight Committee. From that, we continued the work through the Consensus on Crime and the creation of the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee, where Keith and I both serve as PSOJ representatives. And throughout the whole process, Keith has been one of engagement with the stakeholders, engagement with the decision makers, and involvement of the participants here at the PSOJ and the committee members.
Keith, I don't need lots of words to explain Keith. One word: impact. Keith is focused on creating impact, really positive impact for Jamaica. As president of the PSOJ, he really started to pull together multi-sectoral stakeholders with an understanding that if we were really going to drive Jamaica forward and address many of the solutions that the country faced, that it would require an all-the-way approach. And so working through private sector, civil society, government, citizens, everybody, Keith really started to look at how we all collaborate in a way that creates sustained change.
My journey with Keith started immediately after the presidency of Howard Mitchell. That's 2019. And of course, 2019 we had COVID. He came at a time when it was very tumultuous for the country in general. So we went through ends, of course, the EPOC meetings, Partnership for Transformation, and the various committees that we serve on.
Keith understands that in order to really address the issues that we're facing, that we all need to work together. What he really looks at is how that you can bring together strong teams, strong networks, how we can collaborate, but always with the goal of creating that impact and that change we're looking at.
Keith led the PSOJ during the height of the pandemic. Very trying times that required dynamic leadership and lots of agility in creating and executing action plans to address the many challenges. But Keith was very much up to the task and was excellent at engaging the various stakeholder groups and considering all the different perspectives. And he was very responsive. At the start of the pandemic, he immediately rallied the support from donors and volunteers, raising over $200 million in cash and kind for equipment and the vaccine program.
He has been able to just mobilize people around the COVID-19 pandemic and making sure that we could get out of it together and in a positive light. He is a man of partnership. He is about inclusiveness. He's about all hands on deck. And most importantly, Keith is about action. So whatever he says he's going to get done, it is done, and we can all witness that with everything that he's done during his tenure. We're talking about the COVID response fund, we're talking about the AFFP project, we're talking about the PSBI, and then now with Project STAR. Keith, you're a true nation builder. Thank you very much for everything that you have done under the tenure of your leadership at the PSOJ.
I'm not gonna forget some of the very late nights he calls. Like, I don't know if he sleeps at night. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I learned so much serving with Keith at the various places. It has been very educational for me. And I think it's not going away. I think it's a see you later moment, because he's very much gonna be here. So while I don't want to say bon voyage, I'm gonna say see you later. And I think he did a splendid job.
What can I say about Keith Duncan, our president of the PSOJ? He's always accessible, always ready to listen. He's about consensus, and more importantly, he said to me the very first time I called him in that capacity that for him to move forward needed to be measured, scientifically informed, and responsible. And I think he follows with that, with whatever else he's doing. And he is one of the strongest advocates for what is needed nationally. A fearless leader, and somebody that I have grown to trust and to have a deep respect for.
The work you've done on both COVID and Project STAR are going to be defining legacies of your tenure as president, and it was an absolute privilege for me to be a part of both of those adventures with you, both before and during my tenure as your vice president at the PSOJ. Thank you very much for your friendship, leadership, guidance, camaraderie. It's been an absolute thrill. I do look forward to continuing to seek your guidance and counsel as you transition to past president role. We have lots to look forward to. We have lots of unfinished business, and certainly I look forward to continuing to be a thorn in your side and you in mine. Thank you very much. Good luck with all of your new endeavors.
So, Keith, it's not even so long. You know where to find me. You can always come to the commissioner's office, and I know you're gonna be always saying senior soup. So, Keith, so long. You came, you saw, you conquer, and you're leaving, and we are also happy to have been a part of that journey.